As I was walking out the store, someone grabbed my arm and said, "You're not leaving until you admit you stole it." The manager's hand was on my arm, tight, bruising. "I didn't steal anything." "Then you won't mind if we check your bag." "I do mind. I have somewhere to be." "I bet you do." He tightened his grip. "I watched you on the cameras. Aisle 6. You took something and put it in your bag." Aisle 6, the feminine care aisle, where I'd grabbed the supplies for Mrs. Beltran, 83 years old, housebound, too embarrassed to ask her son to buy her pads and too proud to admit she needed help. "It's not what you think. It never is." He started pulling me toward the front of the store. "Let's do this where everyone can see. Maybe public shame will teach you a lesson." "Please don't." "Should have thought about that before you stole from me." People were gathering. A mother pulled her child closer. An old man shook his head. Two teenage boys had their phones out. The manager positioned me in front of the registers. Maximum visibility. Maximum humiliation. "Open the bag." "I'm telling you, I didn't open it." I unzipped my backpack with shaking hands. He grabbed it from me and dumped it onto the counter. Pads, tampons, prenatal vitamins, and a pregnancy test. The crowd murmured. Then he dumped the rest. Pamphlets from Planned Parenthood spilled across the counter. Dozens of them. Information on reproductive health, birth control, STI testing. The murmuring turned to gasps. Well. The manager held up the pregnancy test like a trophy. Not just a thief, a little whore too. A woman behind me sucked in her breath. Disgusting. At her age. Another voice. Shameful. Where are her parents? Someone else. This is what happens when you don't raise them right. The teenage boys were laughing now. One of them shouted, "Guess we know what she's been up to." "Slut." A girl's voice. I couldn't see who. Trashy. Pathetic. I felt tears burning my eyes, but I wouldn't let them fall. "This is all a misunderstanding. Save it." The manager was grinning. He was enjoying this. "We all know what kind of girl carries pregnancy tests and pamphlets about birth control. You probably steal because you're spending all your money on." "I'm a volunteer." He laughed. "Sure you are." "I volunteer for Planned Parenthood's community outreach program. I deliver supplies to elderly and housebound patients who can't get to the clinic." I pointed at the pads and tampons. "Those are for Mrs. Beltran in apartment 4B at Riverside Assisted Living. She's 83 years old and she's too embarrassed to ask her son to buy them." The laughter stopped. "The pregnancy test is for a 17-year-old girl who can't leave her house because her parents monitor her every move and she's terrified she might be pregnant by the boyfriend they don't know exists." I grabbed one of the pamphlets. "These are educational materials. I hand them out at community centers, shelters, and nursing homes." The crowd had gone quiet. I didn't steal anything. I grabbed supplies from aisle 6 that I already paid for at the pharmacy counter. I reached into my pocket and pulled out a receipt. "Here, time-stamped 20 minutes ago, before you grabbed me." The manager's face went pale. "You detained me illegally. You publicly accused me of theft. You called me a whore in front of 40 people." I looked at the teenage boys still holding their phones, and they recorded all of it. The front door opened. A man in a suit walked in. Gray hair, expensive watch. He took one look at the scene, my belongings scattered across the counter, the crowd, the manager's face, and stopped. "What's going on here?" The manager straightened. "Mr. Hendricks, there was a shoplifter. That's the owner." Someone whispered. Mr. Hendricks looked at the receipt in my hand, then at the supplies on the counter, then at me. "Are you okay?" "Your manager detained me, accused me of stealing, dumped my bag in public, and called me a whore. All while I had a receipt proving I paid for everything." Mr. Hendricks' jaw tightened. He turned to the manager. "Office. Now." "Sir, I don't care what you thought. I care that you just created a lawsuit in front of 50 witnesses and at least 3 phone cameras." He looked at the teenage boys. "Stop recording." They didn't. Mr. Hendricks turned back to me. "I am so sorry. Whatever you need. I need to finish my deliveries." I started putting my things back in my bag. "Mrs. Beltran runs out of pads today. The 17-year-old has been waiting for that test since yesterday. People are counting on me." I zipped my bag and looked at the crowd. The same people who'd called me disgusting, shameful, trashy. "You all decided who I was based on a pregnancy test and some pamphlets. You called me names. You laughed." I slung my bag over my shoulder. "I'm 17 years old. I volunteer 40 hours a month to help people who can't help themselves. What do any of you do?" Silence. I walked toward the door. The woman who'd called me disgusting stepped aside, wouldn't meet my eyes. The girl who'd called me a slut was staring at the floor. The teenage boys had finally lowered their phones. I stopped at the door and turned back to Mr. Hendricks. "Your manager's name is on my receipt. I have witnesses. I have video." I pushed the door open. "I have a lawyer." The door closed behind me. I made it to my car before I started shaking. Mrs. Beltran got her supplies that afternoon. The 17-year-old got her test. It was negative. She cried with relief for 20 minutes.